G'day, Teeth here from pickandlessons.com. The New Rig Ship. This is a great tune. Quite an advanced tune to pick on the guitar. We're looking at a Celtic fingerstyle arrangement here. We have two variations. Now, both variations are quite difficult. Just putting that out there straight away because this is a quite advanced tune. The first variation is more basic, just basic melody, learning our positions essentially. And then as we move into the second variation, we have a lot more ornamentation and variation attached to that. So it is quite advanced though, so keep that in mind. In a moment, we're going to take a look at the first part A. There's three parts in each section actually. So you've got A, B, and C, and then we have a variation for A, B, and C as well. So here in this video, we're going to take a look at the first part A to get us going, get a sense of the melody. But if you head to pickandlessons.com, you will be able to get yourself a copy of the chart that we're working from. Has both variations, all variations in there. Plus in the members section on the website, you will be able to check out the next part of this lesson where we'll break down the remaining sections of this tune. So pickandlessons.com. Now, let us get started with part A. We'll have a slow play through, then we'll break down and just have a chat about the techniques we're using to play that section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there was part A, pretty chilled out compared to the tempo. One of the things you got to remember with this tune, that one of the things that makes this tune more advanced is it's quite a fast tempo to play. Some of the techniques in this tune are quite advanced too, to be able to get your fingers around. So that's really important, not just for the left hand and the right hand. It's a combination of both really. I've been sitting on this tune myself for a while. This is not a tune that you can quickly just turn around and pick up. It takes some time. You can learn the notes pretty quickly, but it takes some time to really get it up moving at a quicker tempo. So we'll break it down here and just start to get to know what we need. Now, the first part of this melody, essentially, it's all on a kind of a single string idea, a lot on the first string, a bit on the second as well. Right hand wise, it's pretty straightforward. You can pick the melody notes just with an alternating two fingers. Could be index, middle, could be middle and ring, could be a combination of the three at different times as well. But the melody, pretty much as it sits on one string, you can just alternate between the fingers as you pick them, thumb coming in for the bass notes. Really, we just have a little bit of support at the moment from the lower register, not too much happening there. So first measure, we have this pick up into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, up to the fifth position there to an A. We're in the key of A minor, so our first melody note there, and low bass note is an A, and that's sort of over an A minor, and a suggested A minor chord. And this first part of the melody, fifth position, you need strong left hand, thumb down, third and fourth fingers are used here. Back down to that third fret, hammer on. So we've got two positions we're working out of. That pick up, 5th fret, and then hammering on before we kind of repeat in the second measure. And the second measure though has the hammer on down to the F sharp there at the 2nd fret. That's the only difference. So almost the same thing twice. Fingers in the right hand, just alternate between index and middle. That will get the job done, or middle and ring if you prefer, or some combination of those, that's okay. Whatever you're choosing though, try and keep it consistent. That's a good idea, especially because we're gonna have to play it faster in the long run. Moving into measure 3, all single string, another good idea just to practice that with your fingers. So perhaps middle, index, middle, index. Again, just sort of alternating between the two. Don't get stuck just using one finger though, because it's on one string. Try to alternate, it will certainly help when we have to play faster. Measure 4. Hammering on there. Nice to hold the F sharp on the 4th string there as we transition. And we're about to move across. I do like to hear that. So that 4th measure. Before we move into measure 5. Let's play those first 4 together just nice and slow. Pretty much all these sections are 4 measures and then the second half of the 8 measures is the same, with some variation in this arrangement, but it's kind of the same melody twice, 4 measures repeated, giving us 8 measures for each section. So first half of part A. Leads us into a repeat, essentially. This is all the same. Two pick-up notes on the end there, the E and the D, will lead us into part B of the tune. Okay, so a couple of things to watch as you practice this along. Left hand really wants to be in a nice position with your wrist down. Try not to play with your thumb hanging over the top of the guitar too much, because you're going to find some of those positions too challenging. There may be times where it's okay to do that, but this opening section is not one of them. In terms of right hand, index and middle, or middle and ring, just alternating between your fingers and using your thumb obviously for the low bass notes. I'm using a thumb pick. You don't need to, you can just use your thumb, makes no difference. Now, one other thing to point out with your left hand too before we move on is that you do want to make use of your fingers as efficiently as you can, so little fingers involved. Don't steer away from the pinky, use the pinky. The pinky is important because you're working over 4 frets, a 4-fret position all of the time, so that's really important. Okay, so there's part A. Now, when we do look at the variation for part A later on, you're going to find that position and the melody notes are there in that variation, but there's more going on, particularly in the right hand. So practicing this opening part A is really important to set you up for the harder variations. So do sit down and work on this, and it's always nice to have a second or third variation in what you're playing too. So it's kind of nice. You could just work on the melody without the bass notes. That's a nice variation too. Bring in the bass notes. And again, that gives you almost 2 variations there. And then the third variation would be the more advanced one we're going to look at later. So practice that up, get to know it, work on the position for both left and right hands that we've been talking about. But jump into the member section at pickinglessons.com and we will continue this lesson together. And we'll break down part B and C for this section, and then also go on to the second half of the tune, the more advanced variation of this overall advanced variation. So pickinglessons.com, I'll see you there.